really good live. This is something a little new for me. We did some of these, 6 or 8 months ago, and just had some family issues and had to stop doing our lives. I am so excited to be back tonight. Hang on a minute. I've got audio feedback here. I gotta fix right quick. There we go. Much, much better. I've broken my computer already. There we go. Got it. Maybe. All right. So sorry about that. A little technical difficulty. First time doing this in a while. So glad to have you all here. And for those of you that don't know, I'm Robbie Wheaton. A lot of you have probably seen me over on the Suits channel or on Sensible Prepper. Tonight we're just going to do a Q&A and give you guys an opportunity to hop on, introduce yourself, and ask all the questions that you want. And I will do my best to answer anything that you have, whether it's firearm related, prepping related, or whatever. I'm a part-time psychologist, unlicensed of course, and all gunsmiths are definitely psychologists and psychiatrists. We provide advice and stuff for everyone. My wife says I'm cuckoo, but hey, we've all got to be a little cuckoo if we've got a wife, right? So thank you guys for stopping by again tonight, and we're just going to kind of jump right in. Got a bunch of comments and questions that I'm going to be going through and just reading those off and answering them. And then anything that you guys have, you just pop it over in the comment section in the chat, and I will pull those in as well. So our first comment comes from at Badger6472, and this is on our little night vision optic, our budget night vision optic that we did a few weeks ago. And he says, why only first focal plane? And what he's talking about is the night vision scope that we had. It's a clip-on model that clips on the back of your regular scope. And the way it's designed, the scope only works with a first focal plane scope, or it will work with a second focal plane, but only at the distance that the focal plane is set on that second focal plane scope. So your first focal plane optic, you've got what's called an adjustable parallax knob on the side that allows you to basically focus the optic at any distance from the end of the scope to infinity. And being able to focus that optic allows you to focus the night vision scope on the rear. So that's kind of the long answer to the short question on why you can only use a first focal plane scope with that. I've got a question here from Gerald Mantanana. Do any of your special triggers fit the Glock Gen 5? Gerald, I do have a few triggers in stock for the Gen 5s, but only for the small frame guns, 9mm and 40 caliber. The 10mm, 45s and stuff like that, we don't have trigger bars available for the large frame stuff yet. So as soon as we're able to get trigger bars for the large frame stuff, we'll have trigger assemblies for the large frame Gen 5s as well. I don't think that the small frame stuff is listed on the website right now because we only have a few in stock. So if you want to, give us a call and we can take your order over the phone on those. And Dave Rivers says, Robbie, got a G22 Gen 2 with a conversion barrel and comp. Get mostly stovepipes. Any chance it's wussy ammo? Possibly. It really depends on the conversion barrel that you have. What I found with a lot of the conversion barrels are the chambers aren't cut correctly, and you have to go back in with a chamber reamer and recut the chamber on those. And once you recut the chamber, it does allow them to extract and eject much more reliably. Also with the G22, the recoil spring, it's got the 17 or 18 pound recoil spring in that gun, and you can reduce the recoil spring weight down to an 11 pound or a 13 pound recoil spring. That's going to allow the gun to unlock easier. It's going to allow the slide to cycle easier. You've got less static weight, and then you've got less moment weight as well, which allows the gun to cycle easier and cycle faster, which will help with your extraction and ejection. And John Richardson, my buddy from Maine, he says, hello from Maine. I'll make it quick. Can you tell me about the Kimber Rapid lineup, worth the money or not? John, I don't have any experience with that one yet. That's one that I should be getting my hands on in the next few weeks, and I'll be able to give you a much more informed answer on that. So stay tuned, and I'll be able to hook you up with an informed answer. Hey, my buddy Eric Luther is on tonight. Eric Luther makes custom knives, and if you've never seen any of his stuff, he makes absolutely incredible knives, some of my favorites in the world. Check him out, and he just popped in and said, hey buddy, but Eric, I'm telling you, awesome stuff, dude. Justin B from Pascagoula, Mississippi says hello. Hello, Justin from Easley, South Carolina. Good to see you, bud, and good to have you on. Mike McCauley, oh my goodness, there is a blast from the past. Mike says, hello, Robbie. I didn't know you did live chats. Very cool. Hope all is going well in the Wheaton world. Mike, it's so good to have you on, bud. You have to give me a call. We can catch up. I haven't talked to you in forever. Dave Spurlock says, what's your take on the LCP 380 for SHTF? And I'm guessing most of y'all know what SHTF means. But for those of you that don't, it's when the turd hits the fan, all right? When things go downhill quick. Dave, I think the 380, and you know, I tell guys this all the time, any handgun or rifle caliber is better than a rock, okay? And that's speaking from personal experience, some murder trials that I've testified as an expert witness in. Even a 22, it can be very, very effective as a defensive weapon. 380 works well. It works very well. There's other calibers that can be more effective, but the big thing to remember with a handgun in any type of defensive shooting situation, most of your handguns are not going to stop someone with just one shot unless you're very, very well placed with your shot and hit the T-box or break the spine or break the pelvis. That's really it. Other than that, you're going to have to engage someone with multiple rounds, and it doesn't matter what caliber it is. So, yeah, the long answer to your short question is yes, the 380 is a good defensive round. Be selective about your ammunition. Make sure it feeds well in your firearm, and run a couple of mags through it first. But yeah, 380 is good to go. Mr. Landfill says, I have a 1970s high standard 22 long rifle double 9 with the original bluing in good condition. Would it be okay to have it blued, or is it better to leave it original? Mr. Landfill, if your high standard is in really good condition and the bluing is in good shape on it, I would not have it re-blued. Those pistols are collector's items, and if you have it re-blued, you're gonna ruin the value of that firearm. If it had a lot of rust on it and the value of the firearm was already decreased because of the rust, then I would say yes, go ahead and look at having it re-blued, and then that way you've got a really nice shooter that you can pass down to your kids. Wow, look at there. We've got a star on here tonight. Sensible Prepper, the great Don himself, showed up tonight and said, "What's up, Robbie?" Don, it's good to see you, bud. Catch up with you soon. 58, Mr. Mike. I have a Smith & Wesson Shield Plus with 10 round, it's a 10 pound, but it is 10 pound, with a 10 pound Massachusetts trigger. Is it an easy fix to reduce the trigger pull, maybe changing out a few springs? Yes, the shields are very easy to work on. If you're familiar with the standard M&Ps, the internals on the shields are very similar to the regular M&Ps. There's several companies out there that make sears and sear springs and stuff, aftermarket triggers. Apex is a good one to look at, but there's a lot of good aftermarket support for the shields to be able to fix that trigger pull on that pistol. And Mr. Landfill popped back in and he said, thanks, only a little wear on his high standard. That I love high standards. They are one of my favorite pistols. They are just, the lines on those guns are just elegant. You know, they're our firearms that are made today just don't have that look and that old world feel that older firearms do. I'm a big fan of those. So yeah, you've got a treasure there. Hold on to that one. Hey, my little outdoor guy, Semper Gumby, popped in and he said, hey, what's up, buddy? And if you guys haven't checked out his channel, Ben has a great YouTube channel. It's called Semper Gumby. He does a lot of outdoor stuff. Check him out. Amazing channel and a great guy to boot. Mr. Landfill says, sensible prepper. Never heard of him. LOL. Just kidding. And James Price says, I just finished my 6.5 Creedmoor AR. What's your opinion? Hang on, let me scroll this down where I can see it a little better. What's your opinion on gain weight that's best? I was leaning toward grain weight. There we go, grain weight that's best. I'm leaning toward 143. James, with the testing that I've done with the Creedmoors, 140s, 143s, and the 140s, 147 or 148, if you're using Hornady ammunition, for my guns, all three of those shot to the exact same point of impact. I didn't see any kind of gain or loss or benefit one way or the other with the 140s or the 143s. They both shot almost identically. Now, with that being said, I use the 143s for hunting, and the 140s I usually use for range use. No particular reason other than I got a great deal on a bunch of 143s that I hunt with, and I got a great deal on a bunch of 140s for range stuff, but they both shoot to the same point of aim in my rifles. One thing to be aware of with your AR in 6.5 Creedmoor is with the Hornady ammunition, the little plastic tips, the steep angle of the feed ramp can snap the plastic tip off when it chambers the round. It can also deform that plastic tip, which can cause some accuracy issues. What I found with the ARs is if I single load my Creedmoor rounds in it, I can get a really, really tight group, sub ½ inch easy at 100 yards. If it feeds from the magazine, my groups open up to 3/4 to 7/8 of an inch. So just something to be aware of, and you may want to look at some different projectiles other than the Hornady ELDs, just because of that. Maybe look at some hollow point boat tail ammunition, and try a few different things and to see what feeds the best in your rifle and what gives you the best accuracy. All right, and we'll jump back over here to some of my comments. Firearms Fuel Fabrication says, I have this night vision optic, and he's talking about the One Leaf AI clip-on night vision optic, which we did a review on a few weeks ago. If you guys haven't saw it, check it out. It's an awesome little night vision optic, especially for the price. They are incredible. I think they're like 300 bucks. He says, incredible price point for this. I do use it on a second focal plane scope as well as a first, as long as it has adjustable parallax. I've been able to get a very clear image. And like I talked about before, most of your second focal plane scopes, the focal plane is set at 100 yards. So if you're using the clip-on night vision on your second focal plane scope, it's going to be really clear and work really well at 100 yards. But inside of 100 and outside of 100, the image, the further out you get, the more blurry the image is going to get. But I tell you guys, that is a great little handheld monocular or clip-on night vision optic to be able to give you the ability to be able to see at night. It's got a good little infrared illuminator. Sorry, I went brain dead there for a second. It's got a really good infrared built-in illuminator on it that you can go from flood to spot with, and it also has a laser pointer on it that if I played with it some, and it works well for shooting at if you set it up for a specific distance, but otherwise it's just good for pointing. But you can reach out to 250 or 300 yards of this little guy without having a external or secondary infrared illuminator. And then Leprechaun Actual 8265 said, I've been waiting for this review since you mentioned it on Sensible Prepper. Looking forward to it. And that same way as talking about the little night vision optic, the One Leaf AI. But check that guy out. And Chris Matthews said, "Hey Robbie, what's your overall opinion of the SIG 320 platform and the possible safety issues, and would you ever consider doing a video talking about the safety design aspects? I love mine." Chris, it's kind of funny that you bring that up. We've actually been working on a fix for that for the last 6 months or so, and hopefully pretty soon we'll be able to reveal all of that. We're trying to get it finished up right before SHOT Show, but we've got a fix for that. So what we've seen is most of the time it happens when the pistol is in the holster, and the pistol has a very short movement of the trigger, and there's nothing blocking the trigger to keep the pistol from firing if the trigger is pulled. And the way a lot of holsters are made, they fit really tightly on the trigger and the trigger guard. And I think that if the pistol twists or turns a certain way in a holster, there's a potential that it could pull the trigger. So we've developed a fix for that we're finishing up prototyping and testing with now. And hopefully we'll have that ready to go in the next 6 or 8 weeks and be able to show you guys what it looks like. Dave Rivers said, "Robbie, my grandson is looking for his first deer rifle. Suggests 6.5 Creedmoor, 300 blackout, or need to look at the distance." Dave, I tell you, the 6.5 Creedmoor has been my go-to since it came out. As soon as that cartridge came out, I built both of my little boys, and they were actually little at the time, but I built both of my little boys a rifle in 6.5 Creedmoor, and real short buttstock on it. One of them was 7, the other was 9 at the time, and so I wanted the rifle to fit them. So I shortened the buttstock and put a recoil pad on it, put a muzzle brake on it, and they've both taken several deer with their rifles. Now, I've since had to upgrade them to an adult size stock because they're both 6 foot plus now, but we had to upgrade that and just move the action and everything, and the barreled action over into a full size adult stock. But Dave, I love the 6.5 Creedmoor for hunting. It is an exceptional caliber. Arthur Quintana says, "Are Glock 22 conversion barrels in stock?" Arthur, we're not making those right now. The G22 and G23 conversion barrels, we've put those kind of on the back burner, and we're not making any of those right now. And Chris Matthews says, "At Sensible Prepper, busy. I ended up getting the Enfield rifle at the Greenville show." I'm a fan of the Enfields. I've got one, but it's a pretty special one. I've got actually a World War I Enfield sniper rifle that I was able to pick up a few years ago, and it's in excellent condition. So maybe I'll have to do a review on that one and let you guys take a peek at it one day. And Chris says, Robbie thinks, looking forward to the addition to the 320. It's going to be pretty impressive. I think you guys are really going to like it. There's been a lot of R&D put into it and a lot of design work to get everything dialed in and done right. I think you're going to be really impressed with it. Andrew Valentina says, bought a CZ P10C about 6 months ago. It's absolutely replaced my G19 as my carry gun. Any thoughts on the CZ? Andrew, I'm a huge CZ fan. I lean more toward the all-steel guns, the CZ75s, the SPO1s. They are, as far as a double-action, single-action pistol, I think they're the most accurate production gun made right out of the box. The CZs are incredibly accurate. I like the grip angle on them. The way they fit my hand is just a natural extension of my hand when I'm pointing. And I think a lot of that goes back to me shooting 1911s and 2011s for a couple of decades. But yeah, I'm a big fan of the CZs. The P10 and the P10C, I like those as well. They're still the polymer. They've got the polymer triggers, but they have a good trigger. They've got good sights, good ergonomics right out of the box. It's a very good pistol, very reliable pistol. So yeah, you did a good job with that one. And Semper Gumby says, Robbie, what are your thoughts on the Glock 45 9mm? I carry those at work, and we're going from the G17 for years. It takes a little getting used to with the G45. Semper Gumby, I am a huge fan of the G45 and the G19X, which is, they're basically the same pistol. I like the larger capacity. I like the shorter slide and the shorter sight radius. You're able to get it out of the holster just a little bit faster. For me, I can shave almost 1/10 of a second going from a G17 full length down to the G45. I think the shorter slide and the shorter recoil system has a faster, quicker recoil impulse. I think the pistol shoots flatter. You get less muzzle rise than you do with the G17. The grip angle with a flat grip front and no finger grooves fits my hand better. You know, the big thing that I saw with a lot of the Gen 3 and Gen 4 G17s and G19s, the finger grooves that they put in those, they never lined up with people with big hands. They don't line up with people with small hands. You've got to have the perfect hand for everything to line up right. And so I'm a big fan of them going back to just a flat grip frame and doing away with the finger grooves. Some people out there disagree with me. They love the finger grooves, but you know, that's why they make different pistols, because we all have an opinion on them. But I'm a big fan of the G45. And Andrew Valentina says, "Yep, the Shadow 2 compact is on my wish list." Yeah, look at the CZ Robbie also. The Robbie is a really good option, all steel pistol, and it's a really small compact design. There's a lot of aftermarket support for that one too, as far as trigger components to be able to lighten the trigger and put better sights and stuff on it. And Gerald Mantanona, any thoughts on the Stealth Arms Platypus 2011 style pistol that uses Glock magazines? That's one that I haven't had any experience with yet. There's a few different pistols out there that are doing a take on the 2011 and that are using either Glock magazines or have some different proprietary features with them that I haven't had a chance to play with yet, and that's one of them. But that's one that I like the idea of using the Glock magazines, because they are, one, they're cheap, and two, they're very reliable. So I would love to get my hands on one of those and do some shooting and see how it works out, especially if it uses a locking mechanism with the barrel, where the barrel locks up, and then the hammer and sear like a 2011 or a 1911. But with the Glock magazines, that could be a very impressive little pistol. James Price said, thoughts on the Palmetto State Dagger 9mm? James, I am a big fan of the Dagger. You know, we make a lot of parts for the Daggers. We make our triggers for the Daggers. We make our barrels for the Daggers, guide rods, and a few other parts. But the Daggers have been a very reliable pistol right out of the box. I think a lot of the guys that, especially there was always a few bugs that you have to get worked out with a new production line. They had some issues with the magazines, not locking in the guns right, and I think that had to do more with the magazine spring that they were using, not having enough tension on it and allowing the magazines to drop out than anything from what I had seen. But the Daggers overall are a great pistol, especially for the money. I've got 3 or 4 of them now in different configurations, and yeah, you can't go wrong with them. And Semper Gumby said, James Price, they rock. I bought 3 of them. See, yeah, they're like Doritos. You can't have just one, especially at that price point. You know, I mean, you can buy almost 2 Daggers for what 1 Glock will cost you. And yeah, for me, that is a great deal. You know, you can get them with all different types of optic cuts on them. The finish on the slide, the steel that they use on the slide is heat treated properly. They're just good guns. Most people don't like the triggers on the Daggers. That pivoting Smith & Wesson M&P style trigger is probably the biggest detractor that most people have with that pistol, but that's okay because we make a trigger that fits the Dagger. And for those of y'all that that do love our triggers and buy them from us on the regular, if you look on the website, we're running kind of low on triggers right now. We've got gold triggers, copper triggers, black triggers, and then several different combinations with different colored safeties available that are anodized right now. We should have those back up on the website in the next week and a half or so, maybe 2 weeks at the most. And James Price says they make it in a 5.7 by 28, right? And no, the 5.7 by 28 that Pelham State Armory makes is actually called the Rock. And the Rock is a completely different pistol, completely different design from the Dagger. Internally it's different, externally it's different. But they do make a really, really good pistol that shoots the 5.7 by 28 caliber. We got to shoot those at the Gathering year before last when they were first releasing it. And the Rock was a really impressive pistol, extremely accurate, very soft, very soft recoil, and the sights, everything on it. It's a nice pistol. And for me, I'm not a big fan of the FN 5.7 pistol. The grip on it, I've got big hands, and the grip is just huge. The Rock from Pelham State Armory, the grip is much smaller. It fits your hand a lot better, and just overall, I think it's a better gun than the FN 5.7 pistol. So, what have you guys saw as far as ammunition shortages in your area? Is the ammunition still pretty readily available? You know, here locally where we live, the 9mm has dried up quite a bit. 5.56 has dried up quite a bit, and even a lot of your hunting calibers, even though it's hunting season, a lot of the hunting calibers are becoming very difficult to get. You just don't find it on the shelves. So what are you guys seeing kind of across the country as far as ammunition availability at your local gun store or even your big box stores? If you would, drop that in the comments over here. And Chris Matthews says, do y'all believe ammunition price and supply will stabilize throughout the rest of the year? No, I don't think so. I think we're still going to see ammunition drying up. I think ammunition is still going to be more difficult to get. I was told something today. I'll pass along some third-hand, unverified information, as I haven't had a chance to dig into it yet. But recently, Remington sold off all of their ammunition brands, or Cerebus Group sold off all their ammunition brands, which included Remington, CCI, Spear, and a few other ammunition brands to a foreign investor from Czechoslovakia. I heard today third hand that Colt is attempting to buy all of the ammunition brands from that Czechoslovakian company. I haven't been able to verify it yet, but you know, just kind of tossing out a little food for thought if you guys want to dig into that a little further, that there's maybe the potential that Colt is attempting to buy all of these ammunition brands from this Czechoslovakian company. And Dave Rivers says, short on 410 for the Judge. Cabela's had one type, 3 boxes. Chris Matthews says, up and down, 5.56 and 223 starting to dry up, but I'm seeing a little bit more now. And James Price says, seems lower at Smoky Mountain Knife Works in my area, but Bud's next door has a lot more available. Andrew Valenta says, I've been trying to get my wife to carry a Kimber Micro 380. She can't find a comfortable way to carry it on her body. Any good female holster thoughts? So there's a few, and probably, I don't know the name of it, but there's a belly band that works really well for concealed carry, especially with, you know, a t-shirt or blouse on, but it just wraps around your midsection, and you can slide your pistol into that belly band. I know that's one thing that my wife has, a little inside the waistband holster that she uses when she's wearing a belt, but if she doesn't have a pair of pants on with a belt, she normally carries hers in her purse. And so we've got to work on that and find her something as well. So as we dig into that and try some different options for her, I'll pass that along to you guys and let you know what's worked best for her. And Andrew Valenta says 5.56 is scarce here in West Texas. 9mm seems to be available in my experience. And Chris Matthews says 22 long rifle seems okay. Shot shells seem to be down in supply. I think that's the case everywhere. Shotgun shells have been, even during bird season this year in September when dove season opened, shotgun shells we just didn't have like we used to. You could walk into your big box stores and there'd be pallets of shotgun shells sitting there, and I didn't see that this year. There were boxes on the shelf, but none of the 250 round pallet boxes that you could pick up. Mr. Landfill says, got to log out. Everyone be safe. Thank you, sir, for stopping by. I really appreciate you being here. And Sensible Prepper says, it's Colt CZ making a bigger offer on Vista than the current bid from the Czech company. Okay, interesting. Thanks for the update, Don. And Gerald Montanona says, here in Las Vegas, you can only find 5.56, 223, and 20 round boxes if you're lucky. No more 100 or 200 round boxes available. 9mm is still available, and gun stores have raised prices. And I can tell you from what I see on the manufacturing side with our distributors that we purchase ammunition from, ammunition on our end has went up several dollars. I think we're at like $12 or $13 a box wholesale right now for a 50 round boxes of 9mm, if you can even find it. And that increase in cost is just going to be passed along to the consumer as well. Wright family says, ammo in my area is in good supply. Most calibers in eastern Ohio. Hey, I guess where we all need to go for vacation this year to pick up ammo, right? And Gerald Montanona says, Bass Pro Shop and Sportsman still have ammo at normal prices. And a lot of that is because those guys purchased so much ammo. They buy their ammo, millions of rounds at a time under a blanket PO or purchase order. And so a lot of them, they were able to get their ammo that they had already purchased that ammo, and that ammo was allocated to them at a lower price. So that's why they're able to sell their ammo at a lower price. Your smaller gun shops that purchase ammo, they might buy 5,000 rounds at a time or 10,000 rounds at a time. As soon as that dries up for them and they go back to their wholesaler and the wholesaler has raised the price, then they have to raise their prices to be able to sell ammo and make money and stay in business. Palmetto Paratrooper said, that's a really nice hat. Thank you, bud. I appreciate that. This is, I think this is one that my wife picked out for me because I am terrible at shopping for myself. But yeah, this is one my wife grabbed for me, and she was like, here, you're wearing this. And I said, yes, ma'am. But that's what we do as husbands, right? So what is your favorite carry pistol? What do you guys carry every day? For me, I change handguns almost like I change underwear. I carry a lot of 1911s, I carry a lot of Glocks, I carry CZs, I carry M&Ps, I carry my 320 from time to time. And if my wife and I are going out somewhere, a lot of times I've got a little North American Arms 22 Magnum revolver that I just drop in my pocket. It's got a little holster, but that is one of my, like a deep concealment, and I call it my get off me gun. As if I need to get somebody off of me, that's my go-to. But what do you guys carry? That's something that I'm always curious about, what other people are carrying. What's their preferred pistol of carry? Chase Kelly said, hey Robbie, really awesome meeting you at the Such gathering, and that Tipman was a blast. It was a blast, literally, until I started having some ammunition problems with it. And I don't know if you guys saw a few days ago, I made a post with some 22 ammunition that I was using, that I was actually blowing the rims off of the case on the ammunition. I had never experienced that before, and so I've got to go back and do some more digging. I'm going to test the ammo in some different guns and see if I still have that same issue, but that was a new one for me. I'd never had 22 ammunition literally blow the rim off of the case before. Andrew Valenta says, what do you want for Christmas, y'all? Man, my 2 front teeth? No. I don't know. I'm going to leave that one up to you guys. Let's see what y'all want for Christmas. James Price says he carries a Kimber 45 custom carry or an M&P. Dave Rivers says a Canic Rival, if outside the waistband, and a Kimber K6 SS concealed. Chase Kelly, Gen 1 Shield. Jess Hoods, pocket carry a 365 in either the regular or the X configuration, sometimes even the XL configuration. You know, that's one pistol that I have shot a lot, but I don't have one currently and need to add that to my collection. You can add that to your Christmas list. My wife, she's watching. She can put that on her list for me. And Sipper Gumby says G45 for patrol, a Dagger 9mm EDC, and swap between that and the Glock 19. And James Price says, if I'm hiking, I carry my Judge. And if I'm hiking, I usually carry my Glock 20 in 10mm. We've got a pretty large bear population, black bears, here in the upstate where we live and where we hike. And I normally carry my G20 in 10mm when I'm out in the woods. Gerald Montanona, EDC is a Glock 19 Gen 5 because he's left-handed, but he'll change to a Glock 23. And Gerald, I'm left-handed as well, and you know, if I'm carrying a gun that has a safety on it, I make sure that it has ambi safeties. Magazine release, I've never switched. I learned how to do mag changes with my index finger a long time ago, and that's something that I'm very comfortable with. And a lot of times, if I'm working with female shooters or smaller statured men, I teach them to use their index finger as well instead of their thumb, and we'll switch the magazine release around, because you can get a lot more leverage and reach on the magazine release with your index finger versus having to shift the entire pistol in your hand to be able to get to the magazine release with your thumb. And we've got a video coming up in the next few weeks talking about that, grip and stance, and we'll incorporate magazine changes in that video as well. So that's something upcoming for you guys. Andrew Valenta, I carry my CZP-10C in a T-Rex Arms sidecar holster. Extra mag is what I have now, thinking about doing the tourniquet attachment. The tourniquet is a good option. You know, if you're in a gunfight, odds are somebody's going to need a tourniquet by the end of it, either you or the person that you had to defend yourself against. And you know, a lot of times we go from being in a defensive situation to a life-saving situation in certain environments. So I think a tourniquet is always something good to have on you. Shade Eye carries a LCP Max while working. And Chase Kelly says he wouldn't mind a 10mm himself for Christmas. So Chase, if your significant other is watching, here we go. Glock 20, 10mm, Gen 3 or Gen 4. Excellent recommendation for a carry gun. Palmetto Paratrooper said the only thing I don't like about my 9mm 1911 is that it's not a 10mm. You know, I've shot a lot of 1911s in 10mm, and I'm not a fan. They move around a lot in my hand. I think the polymer framed pistols flex some in the larger calibers, and I think that helps to absorb a lot of the recoil impulse, whether it's the Smith & Wesson M&P in 10mm, the XD in 10mm, or the Glock in 10mm. That polymer frame helps to absorb some of the recoil and helps you stay on target and get back on target faster than you can personally with a 1911. So I generally prefer the polymer frame stuff in 10mm over the 1911s in 10mm. Palmetto Paratrooper says I carry 3 tourniquets and wound packing gauze every day. That is not a bad thing to have, and as a paratrooper, you probably need it even more than most of us. Andrew Valenta says, I want 6 primary arms 3X prism with a 5.56 Raptor reticle for Christmas. Now that's what I'm talking about. My man's getting on here with a wish list. So guys, we've got a video coming up soon on the Onias gun safe. It's a little small nightstand gun safe with 3 different options for unlocking and opening it. It's got a keyed option, it has a number pad on it that you can put in a number combination, or a biometric lock, which will hold up to 30 different fingerprints. We're wrapping up the review on that now and should have that up in the next couple of days. But if you're looking for a nightstand gun safe for Christmas, it is a great option and it's under $100. So keep an eye out for that video. It's coming up soon. All right, guys, and we're going to roll on here for about 5 more minutes and start winding down. But I just wanted to say thank you to everyone that jumped on tonight and joined us for our live. It was awesome. I really enjoyed it. I hope you did as well. We'll be doing these on Monday nights at 6 p.m.
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Today's Tuesday.
Today is Tuesday. I lost a day. We're going to be doing these on Tuesday nights at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. And look forward to seeing you guys join in. And if you've got friends that are gun guys, or friends that are preppers, or friends that just need some good common sense advice, make sure you send them a link to our upcoming video so they can join us as well. And for those of you that didn't make it out to the Such Nation Range Day a couple of weeks ago, become a Patreon member with Such, or you can become a Patreon member with Robbie Wheaton, and our Patreons receive an invite every year to our range day. It's an absolutely amazing event. We get together, we shoot a bunch of different guns, we have some seminars, and it's a good opportunity to get together with a lot of like-minded people. So make sure you jump on and become a Patreon member, or Patreon member. It's one of the two. A Patreon patron member. That's the way. But guys, hey, I appreciate you all stopping by. We'll see you next Tuesday at 6 p.m. and enjoyed it.